American Pickers alum Frank Fritz's conservatorship serves bank with order to hand over Star's finances in court war. As Frank Fritz of American Pickers recovers from a crippling stroke, his conservator has served legal documents to his bank demanding that the Star turn up his finances. Frank, 60, experienced a stroke in July 2022 at home in Iowa, resulting in frequent hospital stays and rehabilitation. The former American Pickers star was placed under conservatorship in August 2022. Chris Davis, a close friend of Frank's, is his guardian, and Midwest-owned bank is his conservator. According to a prior story by the U.S. Sun, Frank will require skilled and long-term nursing care. Thus, Midwest-owned ordered that his finances be moved from another bank, J.P. Morgan, to them. The request was granted by an Iowa court hearing the case. The U.S. Sun can now exclusively disclose that 2 J.P. Morgan personnel have received court orders to turn over the disputed monies. Continue reading about American Pickers. The U.S. Sun was able to access court documents from the conservatorship case, which showed that Frank has cash assets and credit accounts at J.P. Morgan. The assets would be given to Midwest-owned, so they could invest to start generating income for Frank, according to the conservator's initial plan, which was submitted in November 2022. The conservator has contacted J.P. Morgan on multiple occasions since the plan's approval, but to no avail, requesting access to the protected party's funds, credit card statements, and income tax documents. The court documents stated, "The bank refused to provide access to Mr. Fritz's assets and documentation, and otherwise ignored the conservator's authority, the orders of this court, and the laws of the state of Iowa. The bank also repeatedly failed to respond to the conservator." Most books in reality. According to the court records, Frank still requires long-term skilled nursing care, so it's critical that his assets are invested sensibly and managed appropriately to meet his long-term needs. The conservator is not permitted access to consumer credit cards to review charges, and any accounts that are left open are vulnerable to fraud. The protected party no longer needs consumer credit cards. Frank Fritz, star of American Pickers, had dead bugs, a crumbling roof, and holes in the floor in his antique business in Illinois. The conservator should receive an order compelling the bank to release all of Frank Fritz's funds, close all of Frank Fritz's credit card accounts, provide the conservator with Frank Fritz's income tax documents for 2023, and change the mailing address for future income tax documents to the conservator's address, is what Midwest-owned bank asked the court to do. Following a hearing on July 19, the judge made a decision that favored Midwest-owned bank. According to the court's decision, J.P. Morgan Chase Bank must reply to the conservator and grant access to and control over all bank accounts, credit card accounts, and other accounts that Mr. Fritz owns or controls. The matter is still pending. The news that the conservatorship was filed in August 2022 was first reported by the U.S. Sun. According to records obtained by the U.S. Sun, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired because of his stroke that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur. Mr. Fritz is unable to make, communicate, or carry out significant decisions on his own financial affairs due to his severe impairment in decision-making. Choices must be made regarding Mr. Fritz's placement and care as he continues to heal from his wounds. It was decided that a conservator and guardian were necessary in order to avoid immediate harm to him. The guardian's duties include taking Frank to physical therapy, helping him with his Crohn's disease treatment, and providing assistance with cooking and grocery shopping. Regarding the conservator, Frank's monthly expenses were disclosed in an initial plan submitted by Midwest-owned. He spends $28,292 a month on expenses, with $22,832 going toward in-home healthcare, making up the majority of his budget. His entire yearly cost of healthcare is $273,984. Frank Fritz's conservatorship. Only a few weeks after suffering a stroke, in August 2022, Frank Fritz was placed under conservatorship. Midwestone Bank is Frank's conservator and is in charge of his money. The bank consented to invest Frank's funds and collections in order to produce revenue. Chris Davis, a close friend of his, is the guardian. Chris is in charge of aiding Frank with daily duties like grocery shopping, cooking, physical therapy appointments, and managing his Crohn's disease meds. Additionally, the conservatorship consented to assist Frank Fritz Finds, his Iowa antique store, with restocking. Under the conservatorship, his Iowa house has a wheelchair ramp erected in addition to other improvements. Health UPDATS. Following his discharge from the hospital in September 2022, Frank has been in and out of rehabilitation on several occasions. Additionally, he has spent a number of stays in the hospital due to pneumonia. Despite his health difficulties, the celebrity keeps getting better every day. He's fine, but you're never 100% after a stroke. He knows what's happening, Frank's friend had earlier told the U.S. Sun. You could sit and speak with him if he were seated here at this moment. He's still the same Frank. Frank had a stroke and was confined to a wheelchair. The friend said, he can walk, but he's going to need the wheelchair because he can't walk long distances. In essence, you become immobile. He stopped moving. His right side is affected by a stroke, which can also damage your left or right side. MURDRs of death. In August, there were speculations that Frank had passed away, with the hashtag #FrankFritzDead taking off on social media. It's all just a lot of nonsense. I have no idea where it originated, the insider stated to the U.S. Sun. Frank has been good, been eating ice cream and watching the Olympics. Final episode. In March of 2020, Frank's last episode of American Pickers aired. He took time off to recuperate from a back surgery that resulted in 2 rods in his spine and 185 stitches. He spent 77 days at an Iowan rehab center for alcoholism while he was away from the show. Mike Wolfe, Frank's co-star and lifelong friend, had a falling out. Frank's stroke led to their reconciliation. Currently starring in American Pickers are Danielle Colby, John Chalet, Robbie Wolfe, and Mike. This September, the next season is scheduled to premiere. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.